Sache, Tabasi, so familiar, so many times we've seen it.
Barzell stops, feeds it, score! It's Horvat in overtime.
Hi, welcome back to the Isle ship. The ship is sinking, and so we are trying to offload our crew. This is going to be the trade deadline special.
We're trying to offload our crew.
I mean, let's be honest here. There's some dead weight that needs to be cut.
Overboard.
Yeah. Some guys need to walk the plank.
You know what, John? I'm going to give you a round of applause for making that stuff up as you went. You know, I got to hand it to you, man. I got to hand it to you.
No,
sometimes I can come up with something on the fly.
Give him credit for not effing up the intro. Like
there we go.
Yeah, like I said, listen. You get brownie points for that. 100%.
Thank you. I'm glad. All right. So I'm with Eric, Brandon, and Mike, as you know, and things are not going well. We're going to start off by talking about the World Juniors that just happened. USA.
Well.
What was that?
That went well.
It did go well. US won the gold in the back-to-back cups and back-to-back tournaments. I think that was the first time that's happened for them. That's phenomenal. Yep. And the Islanders prospects, Danny Nelson and Cole Eiserman, both played well.
They did. Yep, in their respective roles. So
yeah.
So did everyone watch it here? Eric didn't, you said, right?
I didn't. I mean,
I watched it occasionally, but I didn't really watch a lot of it, I'll be honest.
I watched every minute of that.
There you go.
USA
all right.
games.
Nice.
And listen, so Brandon's going to have, I guess I'll just start with me and then we'll move to Brandon real quick.
Perfect.
So we'll start with Danny Nelson, who was probably one of the most impressive players of the tournament in general, and especially for the U.S. I think everything Brandon had told me before about him just became way more truthful after watching it in the World Juniors. Now, granted, I still think the kid's ceiling is middle six center. I think that's just what it will be. But I would love to hype up something more than that because for his size, he can skate pretty well. He plays really well 200 feet. Kid's got hands, too, on top of it. He scored some huge goals for the U.S., and he put up a lot of points. His line, in my opinion, in the bigger games was sometimes more impressive than the first line of Perreault, Higgins, and Leonard. Now, that's an opinion. Maybe I'm a little biased as an Islanders fan, but I felt the second line did a lot of the hard work in a lot of those games. Now, I'll quickly jump over to Cole Eiserman, so I'm not talking for an hour here.
I just want to say it's a little weird how much Danny Nelson reminds me of Brock Nelson.
Yeah. The funny thing is,
better skater, though. He's already...
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But Brock's a deceptively great skater, too. It's like an effort thing with him or something, because when Brock's moving, he can skate like Danny Nelson. You know?
It might be a pace issue.
We'll see. Yeah, probably. It's just the way he plays too. But we'll see. We'll see how Danny translates. In my opinion, though, the Islanders turned a second-round pick into like a mid-first with Danny Nelson. I mean, this kid's clearly a lot better than we thought. So I'm excited to see what they do with him. Now, Cole Eiserman is, in my opinion, even more exciting than Danny Nelson. Not because I think he has the higher floor, but because I think he has the much higher ceiling. Eiserman was relegated to a 13th forward role on the team because he's extremely highly undisciplined, just like Brandon during the podcast. But he looked good when he was playing regular minutes. But what was so impressive for him is he was only playing like 8 to 10 minutes a night, and he was producing in almost every single game. And I understand he got major power play minutes, but it was power play 2 where he was big. So, I mean, it's really fun to see Eiserman doing really well. He has pretty much I thought Wallstrom and Bellows had great shots. I think his shot's probably one of the best I've seen on a prospect we've had. Mm-hmm. They in the card I brought up, they compare it to like an Austin Matthews shot. And I think he's very, very close. And he can move with the shot. It's not just like a Wallstrom heavy standing shot. Like he can move with the puck and shoot. So his things he has to work on. Biggest one is discipline, although I like how he's almost like a Brad Marchand light. He's nasty. He gets in your face. He's annoying. Type of player you need, honestly, on your team. But it's the hands for him. He's got to work on the hands, got to work on the skating, and then he'll be an NHLer, no doubt, in my opinion. So
he reminds me of a Matthew Tkachuk type player, I'll be honest.
Yeah, he reminds me of Marchand. When in some of those games, he got under the opponent's skin every time, and he was taking penalties nonstop. But they weren't. The refs weren't able to catch it a lot of the time. That's why I like him. If he could just be if he could be a little bit more disciplined, he'll actually be a smart player. It comes down to really just maturing, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Right,
a lot of those kinds of players have that issue in the beginning of their career. For 100%.
I don't think there's, and I know it almost sounds like a backhanded compliment. I don't think there's ever been a better 13th forward in the World Juniors, unless it was like I'm serious. I know it sounds like a backhanded compliment, but look at his rate of production playing 8 minutes a night. I mean, that's
sure.
I mean, Jesus, if he reminds me almost like an Olofsson. And I know that, like I said, that might sound bad or backhanded, but for the Islanders to get a guy who I think is a guaranteed NHLer is awesome. It's awesome. There's no reason to complain.
I agree.
Opinion, but all right, Brandon, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Let me I want to actually thank Mike for letting me get like a small little reading break during the whole Cole Eiserman rant and whatnot. When you have like a long day, you have wedding planning, you want to take the time to like calm down, cool down, which would be much better than talking about freaking Cole Eiserman. I mean, come on, man. The dude can't freaking move. He's freaking slow, dude. He's the same thing with Wahlstrom and Bellows. Like, to get him away from Danny Nelson, get him away from Higgins. Watch what happens. It's the same thing when Wahlstrom was playing with Farabee and Hughes. Take them out of his line. He gets exposed. That's why Cole Eiserman was the 13th forward. He's not a guy who can create on his own. Lethal shot, but he takes forever to get his strides going. He completely takes forever to get his strides going. I saw the entire game.
You don't think they can work on that?
Good job on your collapse, by the way, Finland. Great job on that, buddy. And by the way, the head coach of Finland, he ain't the only one who deserves to be held accountable for that poor performance. Dave Cameron, by the way, should never, ever coach another national team in the juniors ever again. I mean, you left Canada completely. I mean, good, it's not my country, but you left your team completely unprepared during those games, like completely unprepared.
And I don't care because it has nothing to do with the Islanders. So let's get back to Cole Eiserman there, Brandon.
Do you think a player like
screw this? I'm just gonna read Attack on Titan again. Like, my God.
Do you think a player with that kind of archetype would be useful if you build around him?
But should that be why? Should we be
getting excited
about a complimentary piece, though?
Is that something Lou Lamoriello is capable of? Does Cole Eiserman fit on a Lou Lamoriello team?
We'll get to that. Actually, I think he kind of does, just because a lot of that team is very slow and prodding.
But Cole Eiserman, his best comparison, you know what? You're absolutely right. He is very comparable to Victor Olofsson. He plays okay when he has stars around him. Listen, when he got to play with Jack Eichel for a couple seasons in Buffalo, he was able to take off for a little bit. Not really the best 5-on-5 guy. Very strong power play merchant. That's probably Cole Eiserman. But again, like how can you hype this guy more than Danny Nelson, who I told you during the summer?
Power play for like your entire life. I mean, this is the exact sort of player.
Power play should not be revolved around one guy. That's a system issue. Danny Nelson.
I agree with you.
I'm Danny Nelson. Like, I hyped this guy for a reason. He is a guy who you want out there during an opposing empty net situation. He is a guy who is a miles better, probably our best forward skating prospect, if we're going to be honest with you, better than Jeffries and Maggio, that's for sure. He plays very sound in his own end. The main issue with Danny Nelson, he's not a big time creator. His game is very simplified. That's not a bad thing. He's not but he doesn't project to be a dynamic first line type of playmaker or anything like that. He's a simple mid six forward, potential top six aspirations. He plays the game the right way. And I'm glad that he finally got the recognition he deserved during the juniors. About time. I'm more hyped about him than Cole for a reason.
I will say this. I agree that I'm actually more excited about guys like Nelson and Finley. But I don't agree that Yzerman is Wallstrom or Bellows or Dow Cole. Those guys. I feel like he's got a little more drive. Whether he makes it farther than they did is a question. Mark. I don't think he's that archetype. I don't think he's entirely that archetype.
But
he's got a little bit more of the dog in him.
He's got a better shot. He has a better shot than Wallstrom and Bellows.
And that's
undeniable. That's undeniable.
I think you're kind of missing the point here on why that's important that he has a better shot. The entirety of Matt Barzal's time with the New York Islanders, he has been able to get people open that are slow and prodding and have no shot attached to it. And then he passes the puck to them and they do nothing with it.
Yeah,
if you have somebody behind that shot, Matt Barzal is going to get him open and he's going to score. You say Victor Olofsson can go off when he's next to Jack Eichel. Cole Yzerman will be next to the Islanders' Jack Eichel.
You know what, John? You just proved my point with Cole Yzerman. Okay. How often has Matt Barzal been injured the past 3 seasons? Pretty often, right? All right. What happens if Matt Barzal goes out? How the hell is Cole Yzerman going to facilitate? How is he going to create his own shots? What is he going to do then?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But every single player on every team gets worse when their star is injured. You can't expect
Matt Barzal played 80 games last year.
Yeah,
I'm saying in the past 3 seasons. This season he's been hurt for a month.
No. I understand, but
he was hurt for over 2.5 months.
The solution to that problem is not make players more reliant for themselves. It's find someone that can do what Matt Barzal did.
I'm ready for the next topic, by the way, guys. I know this is but hold on. I want to end it with this. No matter how you feel about Cole Yzerman, whether you like him or hate him, he's going to be on that World Juniors team next year, I think guaranteed. And he's probably going to be on the top line. I think it's almost guaranteed. So you'll get to see him with actual minutes next year.
That is the best overall point, is that kid is 18.
NHL ready.
And that kid's 18. That's insane to me. So, next year he's going to be, he's
going to be on the team again.
Better idea of what he is going to project as.
And I don't think Hagens comes back, but he might end up even playing with Bednarik a little bit, who's the other guy we drafted. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I don't think Brandon's too crazy about the Bednarik kid, but we don't really know what he is. We don't really even know what Finley is yet. So we're not going to talk about too many prospects. We can wait till the end, towards the end of the year to really get onto that. So next is State of the Islanders. Does anyone really want to start with that one? Eric? Let's start with Eric. Eric.
Yeah, let's start with Eric.
How do you feel about the State of the Islanders?
In 2017, I wrote an article for Eyes on Isles that I looked up the other day.
Sorry about that.
Based on a quote from a movie called The Lion in Winter, which is a very good movie about King Henry II and Eleanor Aquitaine, starring Peter O'Toole and Katharine Hepburn. She won an Oscar for it. It's an amazing movie. It's written by William Goldman's brother. And there's a line in it where one of the brothers says to King Richard, "Why, you're being a chivalric fool, as if it matters how somebody falls down." And Richard says, "When the fall is all that's left, it matters." That is how I feel about this team. It didn't happen in 2018 when Lou and Trotz took over, because they turned into something different. Trotz worked his magic. But this time, that is not happening. Yeah. You need to reap some kind of value from the aging parts of this roster if you don't want to have to go through a full rebuild. So yes, the fall matters. How you fall matters. And I know that's probably like the Staple article saying, tank or lose is, or sell is not a word in Lou Lamoriello's vocabulary, which of course is stupid because Phil posted that whole sell-off that he did in Toronto, which was amazing, by the way. That was an amazing set of deals, that he manufactured.
The dude made 19 trades in his Toronto tenure, and over half of them were selling.
Yeah. So like, yes,
It was smart.
And here's the crazy thing. I do actually trust him to do it. It's just a question of whether he will. Like, I don't know if he wants that pockmark on his record here. Like he doesn't want to end on a down note. But the point is, it won't be a down note if he can salvage this by
if he's allowed to.
Yeah, I know. It's a tough situation to be in. But yes, this fall matters, which is really the spring, but
yeah.
Wordplay. Who's next?
I think honestly, guys, I don't think is there really much to add. You guys want to add a little bit to that? That's pretty much how I feel. Same thing. I mean,
listen, regarding the State Islanders, I mean, they suck. They suck.
Yeah.
They absolutely suck. You have historically bad penalty kill. Your power play is still last in the league despite getting Barzell and Duclair back. So, and
at 5v5, Brandon, they are average. I'll just say average. They don't score a lot. They defend decently well until the end of games where their third period numbers.
Yeah, when they abandon everything that's working.
Exactly. And I think a part of that is it's an older team that's comfortable. And I've said that for the longest time. I'm not saying they don't care. I'm not saying they're a bunch of losers. I just think it got stale for them. I think there's a lot of like stale mentality in there. And there's something that's stinky and rotten, and they gotta try to throw something out, move stuff out, and bring new stuff in and see if it can kind of revive the energy or the aura around the team.
Before John even goes on, okay, sure, I agree with you on that certain players need to come, certain players need to go. I don't think you need to go that crazy or anything like that. And do the players deserve some form of accountability? Absolutely. But I'm sorry, dude. That starts with the coaching staff, and it also starts on the GM who picked the coaching staff in the first place.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: when this he literally said this 3 weeks ago. I'm not going to read the entire quote, but this is from Patrick Waugh himself. His words, not mine. I'm not paraphrasing or anything. I feel like we should have maybe spent more time on the PK and the power play in training camp because as soon as season starts, it's a grind. Are you kidding me? You had a 30-game audition to evaluate those problems before the training camp. How do you not emphasize that? Your penalty kill. Listen, it is not his coach. Like Tommy Abilene, that is not a Patrick Waugh hire. That part, understand. McLean, not Waugh's guy. I don't care. The fact that you chose to not put emphasis in a form of special teams that partly under your watch, though not really your fault, finished last in the league. You got to see it. You got to see it unfold. And for you to not put in your opinion, and we see it on the film, not put proper emphasis to fix it. And now it's worse. Now it's even worse because, yes, players are aging, but the formation sucks too. The formation absolutely sucks because, again, I said this ad nauseum, stop freaking coaching the diamond. It doesn't work because maybe if the dude spent more time probably evaluating with Abilene and company, this would have been fixed. Not top 10 good, but at least league average. How many times have the Islanders blown games where their special teams, for the most part, has sunk them? Quite often, right?
John, I just have to jump in, Brandon, because John, I'm curious. Do you feel the same way I do about the quotes that Brandon's talking about?
I feel like the problem with this quote is that it's
with
a lot of the quotes.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that they're being misconstrued.
That's how I feel too. Okay. I love it. See, in my opinion, a lot of stuff is tongue in cheek and a lot of stuff is
I wouldn't say
but the proof is in the pudding when you see the formation.
No.
It's still the diamond.
Brandon, I wouldn't I know. I understand. Listen,
cup-winning teams don't coach that.
People not being tactically sound doesn't mean they didn't try. It means they were wrong.
For as horrible as a head coach as Greg Cronin has been for Anaheim, And for much as I killed him for coaching Diamond in 14-15, he changed it up in 15-16. And lo and behold, they won the best penalty killing units in the league.
And maybe they'll change it up next year. Right now, they don't really have time to, and it's a sinking ship.
Screw that. He had a 30-game audition to see a special team system that wasn't working. And he didn't.
And what did Lou do to help him out and give him the coaches he wanted? What did he do?
But that shouldn't matter.
Why shouldn't it matter?
Okay. I think we're all glossing over the real issue here.
If he emphasized fixing the penalty kill, and Albeline's like, no, it's my way. You're not my coach, whatever.
All right.
I'm sure that's not how it goes. But my biggest issue is that Wah is kind of a loudmouth, and I like it. It reminds me of me a little bit. But like, what I mean is that like he sometimes slips, and sometimes I don't think he cares. Like, I think he lets it slip bit by bit that he just doesn't have the control he wants.
But what credibility as a coach does he have that allows him to get away with that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. He's between a rock and a hard place.
You don't need credibility to get away with that. It shouldn't matter.
No, no.
I'll say this, John. It's Lou has the power. Lou has the power. Brendan's right.
Lou has the power, and if Lou doesn't like it, Lou should fire him.
I've got the power.
But him being fired should not. Him being fired should not perturb him from being this way, because this is who he is, and this is why he would get hired by someone else.
Exactly, which he might not if he ruins this opportunity. But my point is, if I'm Wah and ownership calls me in separately and goes, "What do you think?" I'm going to go, "Well, how about you bring in the guys I want? Let's try again." That's what I would say. I'd say, listen, Lou got his guys. I brought in whatever his name, Rosier, however you pronounce it, and our face-offs are the best. Whatever. I don't think there's an L in there, but however you pronounce it in French.
I think the best case scenario is that Lou works the sell-off and then Wah takes over as GM.
Oh,
I don't.
That would be interesting. That would be interesting.
I knew Brandon would hate that, but no. Let me finish my point.
Why?
All right.
Wah got to bring in Des Rosier. I think that's how you pronounce it. Whatever. The French assistant coach to work on face-offs, most importantly, and the Islanders are the best face-off team in the league. So why would that not be like red flags to ownership and go, or at least the one like Ledecky who's actually watching, say, okay, maybe I should actually just bring in the coaches he wants. Let's move on from Lou.
You're first in the league. You're first in the league at face-offs. Don't care if you suck at everything else.
Well, it doesn't matter because he didn't
listen, I think
I literally tweeted that out the other day. I was like, it's so. I think it was Stefan who was like, "We're first."
But that's not my point.
Like, it's everything that happens afterward. The face-off.
But that's not my point.
In 2014-15, the Rangers were one of the worst face-off teams in the league, and they made it to Game 7.
That's not my point. You missed the point.
But possession means
you
nothing.
missed the point.
Winning a face-off doesn't mean
you missed the point.
Because they're first in the league in face-offs.
That's the guy they brought in. That's the guy Wah was allowed to bring in.
Yeah,
that is a good point. You're all missing the point. Every one of you.
Let's hear it.
Every single person that is talking about the Islanders here, Eric, Mike, Brandon, is making excuses for a bad hockey team. It's coaching.
Yeah, I know.
They're not inspired. They don't care. They fucking suck. They lack talent. They're not good. It is not a question of they're not trying. It's not a question of they don't know what to do. It's not a question of they're doing the wrong things because the coach is telling them to do the wrong things. They're professional athletes. If they see something is not working, they're good enough to try something else. They're not good. They're old. They're slow. They shoot and miss the net. They hit people and fall. They're in the wrong place. They don't they don't block passing lanes. They don't they don't crash the net. They don't protect the front of the net when they're on the power play. The penalty kill. They are bad.
And
that's the real story. You need a new defense. You need new forwards. You need a new coaching staff. Sure, that is the third priority on this list. They
I just
suck.
wanna finish it.
The players suck.
The New York Islanders under Barry Trotz swept the Pittsburgh Penguins with a
The
second.
New York
line.
Islanders
Josh
under Barry
Bailey,
Trotz were
Brock Nelson,
significantly
Tom
younger
Smith.
and significantly more talented. This
Doesn't mean-
roster is
doesn't
not
mean-
better.
Doesn't mean crap when Adam Pelech was deemed replacement level before Trotz showed up. People hated the Pelech contract. Remember when he missed?
You're right, and he developed into a really good defenseman. Now he's ass.
He's not
Yep.
ass. He's ass
He's good.
offensively, but he's still a brick wall in his
He
own
is
head.
not a good defenseman anymore. Every night I watch him, he makes 4 or 5 ridiculously airheaded mistakes that lead to
As
goals.
far as transition
He
goes,
is
yes.
deep into God, what the fuck is it?
In
Who
his
is
own
the
endo? He's in his
No.
own defensive endo.
Do you want me to close
No,
this one
he
up?
he is well in his own head there. He has God.
So look, we should.
He
talk
has
about
Jake
it.
Gardneritis. That's who I was looking for.
I mean, John is right in saying that
I wanna
yes,
hear it.
we all
There we
know
go.
they're bad, and obviously we all think we have our own reasons, but clearly we all think
They're not talented anymore.
it's not.
It is what it is.
The Blue Jackets are ahead of the Islanders. Don't say that the Islanders have
Wait,
a lesser
wait.
talented roster than them.
I'm gonna
They
close
do.
this.
No,
They have a
don't.
less
No,
talented
they don't.
roster.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
We don't
You
have a
can't-
first line like they do. Just
Yeah.
saying.
That's a very good point.
You can't say that.
Their
Columbus
wingers are
overall
better
has a more
than
talented
pretty much
roster.
anyone here except Barzell, and Barzell's been hurt, so it doesn't
Listen,
matter.
Barzell,
But-
Paul Horvath, Kyle Palmieri, Brock Nelson. On paper, projected, this should be better on paper.
No, of course,
than the
of
Blue
course.
Jackets. Okay,
on
then if they're not
paper,
on paper
they
better
are-
than Columbus, where's the fault go towards?
Special teams.
On paper, they-
And
Brandon,
poor 5-on-5
Brandon,
game
on
management
paper,
is
they
good.
were better. In practice,
Sure.
they are older and slower, and the bottom has
I wanna
fallen
finish
out.
this. All right. Can we close this out because you guys are arguing the same thing, and I agree with you. And I'm going to end with this point that I agree with both of you, but I'm in the middle. I'm fence riding so hard. I'm riding that fence down the street. I'm in the middle of agreeing with both of you, but I'm in the middle. And let me end with this, John, just to make you feel a little bit better about your point. In the Bruins game, J.G. Pajot in his own zone. Turnover right down the middle of the ice.
Listen,
that is not on coaching. That
if
is
we-
not on coaching. They are
If we were
old.
going to,
They
if
are
we were
old.
going to put on a,
and
if we were
okay,
going to
old.
write down,
and I can make another counter, Mike. What about Alex Romanov's gaff on David Pastrnak?
And
I agree.
Romanov has
Listen,
always been. He's
If
always been a
if we
fourth
were going to
defenseman.
write down a list right now of the New York Islander players that we think still have it, how long
Yeah.
is that list?
like 5 guys. I mean,
Yes,
6.
5 guys.
Not
Barzal-
You can make no. You can make an
Barzal,
argument 7 or
Horvat,
8.
Dobson, Romanov, and
George.
No,
yeah.
Romanov's not him. No,
I don't think Romanov is great, but I think
no, he's not good.
good.
He's not good. He's bad. He's horrible.
Can I make the point, Brandon, that he's playing too many minutes and they got to figure out the defensive situation next year? And now I'll move on, Eric. I'm sorry. All right.
Not at all. I think this is worth talking about. And
No,
I disagree about Romanov. Like, you're not selling on that guy. Like,
I think he's good. I don't think he's fantastic,
Travis
but I
Hamonic
think
2.0.
he does what you want him to do.
like you
I
can't
don't-
keep pointing out that everybody on this team is playing down. Of course they're playing down. That doesn't mean that that's who they are permanently. Alexander Romanov last year was amazing. He was good. He's
better,
seemed to
but
regress a little
my
bit. this year,
issue
but I
is
don't
the
think that-
turnovers that Brandon's talking about. They're deadly, and he does them all the time. But he's playing too many minutes. That's what I keep saying to Brandon: is put him in a 4th or 5th spot defensive role where he'd be making his money, $2.5 million. He shouldn't get much more than that. He probably looks okay. I think he would be okay. The problem is they're using him in the top pair, and he's going to get exposed. Which
I mean,
every
that's
other
true.
game-
I agree with it. At this point, you're right.
Every other game he sucks. Yet you put George with Dobson, and it's mainly consistent. I
Yes.
don't know. I feel like that's the obvious choice, but
Yes.
it's neither here nor there. Let's keep
All right.
moving.
So we gotta-
don't do the whole
Yeah.
podcast on
We
this.
got to move on to something that is eerily similar to what we were just talking about. Boys, we
Yeah,
know the
yeah.
team fucking sucks. How do we fix it? What trades do we make?
Yeah, who wants to start? Does anyone want to start with their trade ideas?
I'll start.
Let's
All
let
right,
Eric go
Eric.
first. Let's let the lawyer go first.
Hold on. Hey, this lawyer did well today. I settled 3 cases.
Hey, good for you.
Yeah, it was
But you didn't make
good.
any trades.
I didn't make any trades. That's true. So
You're fired.
here's I'll start with what I think is probably on a lot of people's radars, which is Nelson to Minnesota.
Sure.
The hard thing to do there is...
Wait, before you start, everyone, after you say the trade, one word, do you like it, yes or no?
Good idea.
Fair.
The problem with Minnesota is 14 mil in dead cap between those 2 buyout contracts, which is insane. And I hate that they're so high in the standings with it. So you got a 50%. So we're retaining 50% for Zeev, Marcus Johansson, and Devin Shore. The target is obviously
Zeev Boyum.
Yeah,
I love it. I don't think they do it. I think Minnesota says no, but I love it.
That's okay. I would rather just give one word so we can let Eric finish. And then at the end, if Eric wants to talk about one of the trades, he'll bring it up and then we'll talk about it. So just say yes or no. Everybody yes or no. Me, it's a yes.
Yes.
Brandon.
Do I like the trade or do I think the trade makes
sense? Do you like the trade?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
All right, Brandon. Eric, keep going.
All right. My second one is Peugeot to Winnipeg for Braden Yeager. Straight up.
Ooh.
They actually have. So Winnipeg could be a very real trade spot for Nelson or Peugeot because they have.
Or Palmieri.
There would be no retained cap. They have the space. And the other thing is Lou, they have the cap flexibility that Lou could retain to get so that they could make another move so that they could get more back in the deal. They have 2 guys. They have their top 3 prospects are 2 20-year-old centers who are both like Nelson and Peugeot-esque, and the guy in between them is like a 20-year-old right-handed defenseman. So there's very real trade potential there, I think. Yeah. So that could really be Peugeot or Nelson. And here's the other kicker. I didn't put Nelson. I put Peugeot because they're 20. Winnipeg, for as good as they're doing, is 21st in faceoffs and 23rd in penalty kill. So Peugeot is like the perfect. He's like the perfect fit there.
Okay.
That's a yes, though. All of us should be saying yes. I don't know. I know Brandon might not, but Yeager would be a nice ad if they were able to do it. Yes, no. Oh yeah, he would do it.
There you go.
Broke his heart, but he did it.
So the last kind of, what would you call that other trade, John? Gimmick. It's a gimmick.
Yeah.
The last non-gimmick trade I came up with was is again Peugeot and Nelson. They fit so much of the same mold. Avs are in a very similar spot to Winnipeg with faceoffs and penalty kill. So I put either Peugeot or Nelson with 50% retained to the Avalanche for a 2026 first and filler, depending on how the salary works out, because they're less flexible than Winnipeg.
Wait, say it again.
Peugeot or Nelson at 50% retained probably nets them the Avs 2026 first round pick and filler, depending on how,
who it is. Okay.
The salary retention, because it works different. Because if it's Peugeot and you're retaining, then it's 2 years worth of retention, which is not ideal. But if it's Nelson, you're retaining just for the end of the year.
Yeah, of course.
And then the last one I did was I don't actually know how this would be Brock 50% retained to Leonard and for Leonard and the Vegas Golden Knights for 2026 first.
I love it
because he's not actually on the cap. They're paying him outside the cap, but he is an expiring deal.
And I don't think he's going to be playing anytime soon. Just a heads up.
I don't think so either. But
yeah.
I wouldn't. Maybe the mental health.
I want him to get waived just so we can sign him. And put him like in the AHL or something.
There's no need for him to be waived because they're paying him outside the cap.
Yeah, with how bad the AHL goaltending was either as a coach or just playing there would be better.
Yeah, just let him do what he wants, man.
Maybe they don't want him, his weirdness to rub off on people. I don't know.
Maybe.
But
he's going through it.
So those are my deals. I think of all of them, I like the Winnipeg and the Minnesota one the best. I would prefer to get a younger body in line with that crop of guys that we already talked about: Nelson, Finley, Yzerman, George.
So, and let me just add to this, so I just so we can keep moving. Although I like that first trade, you might have to add to Nelson to get a Z William. I'm just saying.
I agree.
After he had an amazing juniors too.
Before he even had that, he was like a top 10 prospect. So I mean, he's
looking really good.
Yeah, I mean him and his not his partner, but the other kid, I can't remember his name, are basically untouchable prospects because they already are NHLers. I mean, that's looks like a guaranteed bet for me. All right, John, you want to bring up yours?
Sure. So the first trade to me is it's the one that should happen, but it won't, and it's probably my favorite trade, and it's the disgruntled defenseman for disgruntled defenseman. Noah Dobson for Moritz Seider, straight up, 100%.
I think that's a fascinating deal. I honestly think if the Islanders were to move Dobson, try to get someone who you think could play on the power play, 100%. I mean, it's just tough for me because I actually think Dobson's worth more than Seider. I actually do. I mean, the fan base definitely does not like Noah Dobson, but he's got some of the best underlying results on the team. And he plays someone told me the other day on Twitter that he gets sheltered with his usage. And I'm like,
that's not true.
Well, no, here's the thing. When you're 7th in ice time, how could that even be possible in the sort of way you're talking about it? He's going to play against everybody. Even if he's not playing the most or in the defensive zone the most, he's playing like top 10 minutes in the NHL. I mean, come on, man. You really telling me you think he has easy minutes out there? He doesn't. He's not playing.
Who's not watching the games.
But they are. That's the sad part is that they're like, oh, but Ryan Pulock gets the harder assignments. And I'm like, okay, and Pulock stinks in them. Who cares?
And also, he's like a million years older than Dobson.
But I'm just my point is that
5 years older.
My point is that usage matters, and I understand when people talk about that. But when you're 7th in ice time and you are mostly rightfully going to be used in teams' offensive situations, I don't see a problem. The problem is on the power play, and that's why I can see the deal with John making sense. Sorry, I talk too much.
No, you're fine. I think if you're planning on doing a rebuild, I think the most important thing for this team is defensive stability, and I think Moritz Seider represents a bona fide stud defenseman that you can actually build around and trust to anchor that blue line.
Who hasn't shown it, in your opinion? Who has a long way to go? But you think it's the same with Dobson in a way. So, okay. Other trades? Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I just like to say I do like the symmetry of that trade.
It's two guys who are not bad but could be a lot better.
Yep.
We're both great, honestly, but.
The other trade, I was looking for a way to shop Nelson around, and too many people have said Minnesota. I think it
makes a lot of sense.
It does make a lot of sense, but I think the more likely trade, if it's not going to be Minnesota, is Dallas. And looking at their roster, I think the most likely trade candidate is probably a Logan Stankoven.
Yeah. With how
I was trying to get more into players than picks on this because it's not really fun to be like, hey, we're going to trade him for a first. But
no, I agree with you.
Nelson for Stankoven, straight up. If you're going to be going into a rebuild, I think it's important to get younger and to get players that are undervalued. And Logan Stankoven represents a project player that I think is undervalued in their system and could be a much better offensive threat than he is seen as right now.
And I'm not sure you have to rebuild if you're making trades like that. Let me just emphasize that you might be. Well,
I think that is the rebuild. I feel like that's the retool.
Yeah. Retool. Yeah. There's just different things because rebuilds take a long time. That's what I'm saying. They're usually retools are short. Rebuilds are long. I mean, it's really the Rangers never rebuilded, despite popular belief. That was a retool.
Yeah. Looking around the league, I think a lot of teams have solid depth scoring, but I think
Yeah.
Kyle Palmieri represents somebody that could go to Winnipeg pretty easily. And I had him slotted there for Cole Perfetti. Just straight up, 1-for-1.
Which is the yes from all of us. I know even Brandon would say yes there, but it's if you do you have any
I
more
don't think
trades?
Winnipeg would do that though. But I would like.
Yeah,
it.
no. That's what I said to John Brandon. I'm like, that would be a heavy cost for Brock Nelson. Granted, just like Stankoven, I don't think Perfetti's actually been as good as he was before.
But that's why I think they would do the trade, because it's another player to me that represents somebody who the team doesn't see as having the perceived value that they do.
John, has he been scratched this year? Am I
Cole
mistaken?
Perfetti? Yes, he has.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
they would definitely be open to trading him, I believe.
And Perfetti's got like that leadership mentality. I mean, he's a fascinating piece. I mean, I'd prefer Stankoven, but I mean, Perfetti's more of like NHL size, makes a lot of sense for the Islanders, who would be moving off of some of their leadership.
Yes.
All right. Do you have any more, John? Or
the last one is the silliest one, but it's for all the people who wanted to try to make an Ilya Sorokin trade work. Because they're tired of his contract and they want to get off it and don't pay a goalie $8 million, blah, blah, blah. I had him going to Carolina because to me, they're the only team in a playoff spot right now that could desperately use the goaltending. And what they were giving up, it's a steep price. I understand that, but it was Slavin and Jarvis.
Yes. Yeah. That's an insane trade, but
it is.
Carolina says no to that, by the way.
Well,
they need a goalie, and he's the best goalie available.
So you're going to give up you're going to give up your best,
the best goalie available
and your top line forward.
Yes, I do believe you do that because Carolina's depth can handle it, and that brings them closer to winning a cup. They have a good enough defense, good enough scoring that they can handle losing one of their top line players on both sides and still be a cup contender. They just need goaltending. I think that gives them a cup.
League.
What was that?
Slavin's one of the best defensemen in the league right now. Still.
Yeah, you're right. But Carolina's defense is probably one of the best cores in the entire league, so they can take the hit. Their goaltending propels them to a cup here, and in my eyes, they are buying a cup to they're giving away players and losing a trade to buy a cup.
You're giving away a top pair defenseman that they don't have a replacement for.
They do. They have several. They have several replacements for him.
They have no replacement for Slavin. What are you talking about?
Their defensive core. Outside of Slavin, they have one of the best defenses in the entire league.
Well, because Slavin makes their defense good.
No, Slavin's not the only thing that makes their defense good, though. They're one of the only teams in the league that can take his hit off and still be elite.
I just don't think goalie values work that way, though. Just saying, I think Sorokin's value is more like a Kokoniemi plus a first.
No.
I'm serious. I'm serious. Great goalies get traded for a first and a prospect.
Great goalies in their prime never get traded, though. That's the point.
That's the point. Yeah, that's the point. Is when they do.
When they do, it's for massive value.
Okay, John. This is Carolina.
Yes.
I would have to look up goalie trades.
This is Carolina's defense core after Slavin. You let me know who replaces him and the job that he does.
No, I think it's a collective thing, not a specific person. The core, the whole unit.
Orlov is a fossil.
Orlov has been solid.
Oh, here we go. You want to hear goalie trades, John? I got the best ones for you.
Chatfield.
Whenever you're ready.
They're all good defensemen.
Nah, they can't replace Slavin. None of them can.
Collectively, I think that they, along with Ilya Sorokin, if you have an elite level goalie, could do the job, dude. Look at Igor Shesterkin on the Rangers. The Rangers are a tire fire defensively, and he propels them. If the Rangers had half of what Carolina's defensive core looked like, they would have won a cup easily. Walking, they would have swept.
Can I give you the top goalie trades if you want to hear them?
Sure.
So there's not many, like you said, but here we go. Here's some of them. 21-22, Darcy Kemper was traded for Connor Timmins, a first and a third.
Darcy Kemper is not on the level of Ilya Sorokin.
Sure, but right now he might be.
But what I'm saying is like if we're talking about Darcy Kemper from that year versus Ilya Sorokin with
here we go. 13-14, Corey Schneider went for a first-round pick. He was amazing. Semyon Varlamov
at that point.
Wasn't he am I wrong?
That's kind of like closer to the tail end of his career.
2013, 2014? This is like 10 years ago. What do you mean? This is when he was backing up Luongo, correct?
That was part of that was part of Bo Horvat trade, if I'm not mistaken.
It might have been.
No, I think I'm thinking of Corey Crawford. My fault.
No,
Corey Schneider is not. Corey Schneider is not an elite level goalie. No,
he was pretty good.
He was good. He was not like top 5 in the league.
Well, he was a starting goalie at that time, a really good one.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. There's a difference between starting goalie and like top 5. Like if Igor Shesterkin somehow went on the market this year, he would be fetching like 3 firsts.
I don't even know about that.
They paid him $12.5 million.
I mean, I'm giving you these goalie trades. I understand that.
Yeah, but none of them are comparable because none of them are as close to as good.
11-12 Varlamov was a Vezina candidate, I think, and he went for a first and a second.
That's kind of close, I guess.
Frederick Anderson, who was a top 10 goalie at the time in 16-17, I believe he went for a first and a second. And then you have Bobrovsky. I think he went for a second and 2 fourths. If I'm not mistaken.
Can I say, I meant to mention this before. This is completely offhand. That I would much rather trade Noah Dobson than have him get an offer sheet, because those offer sheet compensations are not what they used to be.
I don't think there's a chance he gets offer sheeted. I'll be honest.
Dobson, honestly, with the lack of points that he's putting right now, he's spending money.
What is it with you people and analyzing based on this season?
No, I'm not. I'm saying I don't think he's getting offer sheeted because I think the Islanders would match.
Yes, but he loses leverage though.
He does lose leverage, but I think if a team was going to say "Hey, we're going to give Noah Dobson $7 million," the Islanders would match.
Oh, 100%. Well, here's the thing, Eric. I think
wouldn't want them to, but yes, probably.
If he was putting up the points he had last year, he'd probably be a $9 to $10 million defenseman. But the reality is that he fell off. You have to remember, Eric, he fell off half of the year last year. Yeah. So we're going on a year of him. Don't get me wrong. I think he's been better defensively this year than he ever has been. But offensively, he's not been. Let's just be honest.
I think the gamble is that he's going to get 6, and it's going to pay off because he's going to be. I think he's going to get what?
He's not going to get $6 million.
No, he's going to get 7 or 8.
No, he'll get 7 or 8. No, he'll get around 8.5, but he's not going to get 10.
Oh, I think that's too much if they do that. Oof.
No, but
I think right now he's kind of played. He's playing himself under 7, in my opinion.
The problem was when Pelech and Pulock got paid, Brendan. They might have not been producing, but they were 2 of the best defensemen in the NHL. I don't think you can say that about Dobson right now, even though I think he's doing really well.
I think Lou saw what happened with.
The thing is, though, regarding this offseason compared to when Pelech and Pulock get paid, there was no financial certainty when the cap was going up. There is certainty when the cap is going to go up.
That makes sense. Yeah, I didn't consider that.
I agree, but I also think that Lou also has fresh in his mind what happened after the Pelech and Pulock deals were signed. And so in his mind, he's thinking that it's imperative to keep the defensemen's contracts at a manageable level.
Listen, I don't even think this is just speculation. I don't even think Dobson not getting a deal this year was on Lou. I think Dobson tried to take a gamble and tried to get.
I think you're right.
He tried to bet on himself. He tried to take the Anders Lee route from 9 years ago rather than the Pollock route from 4 years ago.
Yeah, but following that logic, I think they probably went last summer, we're going to give you 7.5, and he decided to bet on himself, and because he's having a worse season, that number goes down instead of going up, so it goes from 7 to 6.
I think you're crazy, and I think he's going to get at least 8. I think.
Yeah, he's not getting.
People are not going like. I don't think he's going to take a pay cut because people who score 70 points at that age, like, aren't growing on trees.
I don't think he's going to finish the year with 70 points, though.
But he has achieved 70 points.
I know.
It's the old Moneyball thing that you own the stats that you've had.
All right,
I'm still on the middle of this. I'm still on the middle.
Yes, but Eric,
like,
you're probably gonna be right on this, Mike, because me and Eric are just looking at this from two different sides. He's giving the argument that Noah Dobson would make, and I'm giving the argument that management would make, and they're gonna meet in the middle.
Yeah. Let me make a comparison here too. Let's say Brock Nelson was going into this trade deadline and he had 5 goals right now. Do you think that would hurt his value a little bit?
Absolutely.
I think it would. Now, granted, I know he only has 10 right now, but other teams are going, okay, that guy's got 10 goals and he's pretty much a 30-goal scorer.
Recency bias is a real thing.
It is. No, it is. And I think going into a contract, they're going to go, well, we have the worst power play in the league and you're the quarterback.
It's not even that. If we go off of the logic of
truth be told, he shouldn't be the quarterback. But
all right,
that's a different discussion for another day.
But still, you guys are discussions.
You guys are Met fans or baseball fans, right? Potentially.
Well, not me,
do any of you watch baseball?
Yeah, I do.
Known to watch baseball.
All right, Brandon, what happened to Pete Alonso right now, and how can we compare that to Noah Dobson?
He spent money. He spent money this year.
He bet on himself.
And
it didn't work out, and now it's costing him a lot of money.
Yeah, Boris misplayed his hand on him. He got sold at the big payday, and now he's
what I think is going to happen with Noah Dobson. When you make a point,
he's trying to use the Angels as leverage to drive up the price, and it's not going to.
Sure, yeah, no, I understand.
He's not
what I'm saying is, when you make a point to publicly bet on yourself and tell your GM, "No, I'm not taking that contract. We're going to revisit this based on what I do next year," you're telling him, "Okay, I'm going to go up. We're going to focus on what happens next year heavily. So if I fall off in production, I'm not going to come to the negotiating table with as much money as I was projected to get." That's how it works.
But he's not going to make less money per year than Ryan Pulock.
Yeah, I agree.
In a situation 100%. Where the cap is definitely going to be going up as
that's true. That's true. But it's a rock and a hard place.
And let me say with the Nelson deadline thing, even though I made the 5-goal thing, and I know he only has 10 goals right now, John, but you have to also look at the market and who's available. When you look at every trade board, he's top 1 or 2. So it doesn't even matter. You know what I mean?
I know, but I think that's
name
recognition.
Of course. But that's why guys at the deadline always get overpaid. Because the Tanner Janots, who are tough as hell, you got to pay that guy. He's the Stanley Cup piece. Some team is going to look at Nelson and go, that's a 30-goal scorer. You're not going to let him go to that team. Here's a prospect, and a roster player.
The Rangers right now are dealing with the same problem with Mika Zibanejad. They want to trade. They want to get off that contract, and he's a negative asset for them, and they can't.
But Nelson's in a different spot than that. Completely, I
agree.
He is in a different spot than that because he's in a different spot than that because he represents a positive asset, so he's going to get something good. It's just he's not going to get what the Islanders are expecting, whereas the Rangers are expecting anything from Mika, and they're not going to get anything.
We've been recording for 53.5 minutes, and we still have 4 topics left to discuss.
I know. I'll get to the next one.
Yeah.
So wait! I didn't get to pitch my trade, bozo.
All right, go ahead.
Oh,
Brandon.
Sorry.
Jesus Christ, man.
Go ahead.
I forgot. I thought we were done.
That's right.
Garbage game.
It's not.
Notch.
All right, so
we'll talk about that another time. Keep going.
All right, so you gotta look. So when it comes to trade, I actually don't think Minnesota makes sense for the Islanders in this case because of the dead cap situation and because Rossi and Eriksson Ek have been killing it. And I don't think they want to really give up any of their top prospects. And I don't think the way they play in their top 9, Nelson would not fit their ideology.
All right, we're almost up to an hour. What's the trade?
So if Nelson, screw you, dude.
All right.
Are you kidding me? It's only one trade I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, so if Nelson is getting moved, then Palmieri is going to be going with him. The two have very, very good chemistry, 5-on-5 together. This team can afford him because they're going to be they're probably going to put someone in LTIR pretty soon, and that's the Dallas Stars.
Okay.
Second. Yeah.
Yes,
so who are they getting back, or what are they getting back?
You're not getting players back. Sorry, just being honest.
Yep.
You're not getting any of their prospects. You are going to get picks back for them.
This is not fun.
It's not fun, but you
It's
have
not,
to be
but
realistic.
it's realistic.
I agree. It is.
So the Islanders have 3 retention spots available. They would use 2 of them on Nelson and Palmieri. So essentially, the Dallas Stars are getting $5.5 million for potentially 50 to 60 goals right into their top 9.
All right. What picks are they giving up?
So you're going to get their 2025 first.
Okay.
You're going to get their 2026 second and their 2027 second.
Oh, I hate
That's
that.
low.
Yeah.
Why is that so low?
I think that's low.
The research. No.
For those two players with retention, like
listen. Let me finish. Here's why it's not as low as you think it is. Let me ask you a question. How long of a shelf life does Pete DeBoer usually have with teams that he coaches?
Short.
I don't know. Short, I guess, like most coaches.
Okay. What year is this for Pete DeBoer right now in the Dallas Stars?
So he's going to be gone as soon as what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
What do you think is going to happen with that Dallas Stars team? Most likely in one of the next 2 years, if not both.
Are you saying they're going to end up retooling? I don't think so.
They're not. No, they're not going to retool. They're just not going to play as well. As
Okay.
a result, those 2 picks in 2026 and 27, if not both, are going to be much higher.
I kind of disagree when you have roster as young and loaded as they do.
They're not young. They're old as fuck. What are you talking about?
No, but what I'm saying is like they're
one
best
of the oldest
players.
rosters.
Their best players are still pretty young.
Jason Roberts. Listen, I've spoken to a few Dallas Stars fans. They are not happy with the way J-Rob's been dogging it the past.
Come back the other way.
He's gonna be solid. I'm not sold on him being.
He like really close.
No, I'm saying like right now though.
He's a bad skater.
Isn't he pretty close to a point per game?
He's not the best. He's not the best skater either.
No, his skating's pretty bad, which is part of the problem with him.
Yes. Given a small shelf
Probably
life with Pete DeBoer usually, the Stars are not going to be playing as well, most likely in each of the next 2 seasons. So each of those second-round picks are going to be higher than like a mid to late second-round pick, which is the equivalent basically of a late first.
You got to act, Brandon, when I talked about Yzerman. Now I get to act as Lou Lamoriello when you say that trade. So ready? I'm Lou Lamoriello. That's it. That's my acting.
Yeah,
that was my response to the trade.
They could get so much.
I don't think you can. I don't think.
Yeah,
you go to higher.
If you separate them, I think Palmieri by himself would net you a first, and Nelson would net you.
If you could find a stupid team who will do that, go for it. I don't think there's a team that's going to do that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Palmieri would net you a first, and I think Nelson would net you a first and
plus
a fourth or fifth. Essentially, I don't see it the way you guys do. I don't see the way you guys do, where you think he's going to get a first and a good prospect. I think
100%. And a roster player.
John, this literally pitches perfectly into your Noah Dobson argument of him spending money based off of his lack of points this year. Nelson's
I agree. I agree, but I think that it's
his trade value this year.
But he's not.
You're right. No, Brandon.
On the board.
I was making this argument. See, here's the funny thing.
For the players, regardless.
Some team's gonna pay.
Here's the funny thing. I was making this argument to Eric and Mike before the podcast started, but you've gone off a cliff with it. I'm somewhere in the middle of you two. You have gone well off the deep end. I don't think he's going to be. I don't think either player is going to be treated like an elite level forward anymore. But I think they're both going to be seen as like good, solid second line players. So you're going to get a first for both of them. Theoretically.
Is Nelson giving you the production right now of even a second line forward?
I'm also going to say that if
No,
you package
but I
them
think you're buying him on the. I think you're taking a gamble on the risk that he'll come back.
I also think that if you package them together,
overpay?
If you package them together, the value goes up, like farther than
now you're eating
I think so.
You're eating.
I don't think so. I think their value is better separate.
You're buying.
I don't agree with that because you're going to have every other team bidding on them.
No. What
you're going to have to beat those teams. Eric's right.
I'm saying that that's why if you package them, the value has to go way up.
You're getting two first guaranteed.
I get what you're saying.
You're getting two first guaranteed.
Yes, I misunderstood you. Yes, I agree. I
100% agree. You get,
and that's not the equivalent of two potentially early seconds and a first.
No, I don't think so.
If you're packaging Nelson and Palmieri together, I think the conversation starts at two firsts and 2 seconds.
Yep, 100%. Because there's going to be other teams bidding. Brandon, Lou's going to be taking calls and saying thank you, and then when another team calls up, he's going to go, well, you know what? I got offered more than that. And then they're going to have to come back with a better offer. This is how the trade deadline works. And the funny thing is they might not even have to wait. Other teams might be like Dallas when they put Sagan on LTIR.
I think they're going to have to wait.
They might not. Some team might go, Lou, here's a roster, player, here's a first round pick, here's a prospect. Probably a mid prospect, but that's a great offer.
Yeah, but but most of the time though, the sellers have all the leverage though.
Sure.
The sellers don't have to move the player right away.
No,
exactly.
All right, Brandon, do you have any other trades or was that it?
No, that was the only one because I don't think anybody else is getting moved this year.
Okay.
And I mean I could give a bunch, but there's really no point. I didn't do my research like I told you
That's
guys.
fair.
I told Eric before though I would really like Zeev Boyum in our prospect pool.
Sure.
I think he's almost NHL ready. My thing is if you're trading for him with, let's say it is a Brock Nelson, you would have to take a player that that's fine. You would have to take a player back that they feel is problematic. That's like to make the cap work.
My caveat with this whole thing is if you're trading for a prospect, you need to completely overhaul the coaching staff in Bridgeport.
Well,
if you're not going to completely overhaul the coaching staff in Bridgeport, I would rather we trade for established talent than prospects.
So what I was alluding to here, and like I said, I love Romanov. I have his jersey. But you add a Boyum, he probably should be in the NHL next year just based off how he's playing right now. I think he's better than what George has looked like. And you would trade a Romanov for a young forward.
Fair. Yeah, I can see that.
You don't have to move anyone. I mean, Mike Riley might be the 7th D in that situation, but...
Oh, hot take. I don't think Mike Riley's going to play hockey anymore.
That would be terrible. It'd be really unfortunate. He was good.
He was great
for us. He was really great for us in his role. All right, so the next thing is, let's do this before Brandon gets back. Thoughts on not acquiring Tomasino or Kaliyev, because I know he doesn't care, but I'm going to start here because I'm very, very passionate about this. I won't make it long.
All right, go ahead.
But Tomasino was almost essentially free. Kaliyev was basically free, and this team's going to be moving off of a Brock Nelson and a Kyle Palmieri, and who would have guessed it? Tomasino goes to Pittsburgh, does really well, and Kaliyev's on the Rangers. Now, I'm not saying these guys are needle movers or game changers. Let Brandon read his book. But I don't understand how a team with a garbage prospect pool that sucks on the power play would not be interested in a guy like Kaliyev, and especially then Tomasino, who is a young player that could easily have slotted into your bottom 6, and you can move on from your Matt Martins and your Suzuki's and your Fashings and all these other guys who aren't first-round pick quality talent. It blows my mind that the Islanders don't even try, but I don't know what to say. It's bizarre when you have those sorts of opportunities, especially Kaliyev, because Holmstrom and what's his name are hurt. Fashing are hurt right now. So it blows my mind that you'd be worried about losing Fashing. Ooh, got to send him down. Oh no, some team's going to take him. No. You might not be.
You might not be thinking this way, and that's fine if you're not. But if the goal is now to sell off players, I think playoffs or expectation of playoffs is kind of out of the question. So now wouldn't we want to be trying to make our roster worse so that we lose more games and get a better draft pick?
And I get that, and I understand.
So why would we be bringing in a player?
I have a hard time believing that Lou wants to lose. Like, I just have a
if he's selling off Nelson and Palmieri, he wants to lose.
Mike. This you see this? You see what this is?
Oh no! What is this?
This is a towel.
That's the white flag.
This is a towel. That's what Lou just did. He threw in the towel, dude. What do you think was going to happen?
I respect it if it's the case, but those two are young guys who are kind of not great. So it's weird that you wouldn't just be like, hey, might as well add them because they'll be part of the future anyway.
Then why
yeah, what if they fuck up my time?
What do you mean get rid of Wallstrom? Wallstrom's not the quality of those two players. You can see it.
Dude?
Watch Boston. You'll see it. He's not a Kaliyev or a Tomasino. He's not.
Yeah, no, I don't think he is, but I think if in terms of in terms of Lou,
why would LA waive him, Mike? Why would the Kings waive him?
Because they're deep.
I think it's
because they're deep.
So you waive a 23-year-old. That's you acknowledging that he sucks.
I agree that it's a mistake to not pick him up, but I think that it's a mistake that is probably going to benefit us if we continue to lose.
So you think getting rid of a 23-year-old is just completely smart business and not LA being like, we're so deep and we have other guys in mind?
Yeah, that's just a stupid thing that, I mean, it's just
I think Kaliyev has a lot of problems in his game. But there's nothing wrong with being like, hey, that guy can slide in on the fourth line in the power play.
So call up somebody from Bridgeport. Don't bother making a call.
Why? Who? They suck. Who?
I mean, Lou does have plans within plans, and I'm sure he's got the numbers calculated to an exact cent. And
also, what if he's a cancer?
Making that waiver wire pick outside of a real desperation. I honestly think it was him saying, "Yeah, we're not trying to improve this team."
Fair enough.
Because you have so many other foundational issues that need fixing, and you making a waiver claim on a fourth liner at best, you're just masking the overall problem.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Tommy Cutlets ruining the Giants' tank only for the Islanders.
Oh, wait. We forgot to talk about the one signing, the one true signing that rings true with me and Eric, and that's Daniel Jones with the Minnesota Vikings today.
Wait. He got signed today? What are you talking about?
Yeah, he did. He signed an official contract.
No.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. No, listen, good for him. Seriously.
I'm happy for him.
Get him away from the Giants dumpster fire. Everybody who leaves the Giants and the Jets turns out they play very, very well.
No, he's still gonna suck, but I'm still happy that he got his money.
Yeah, that's what he said about Xavier McKinney. He's doing with Green Bay.
Still happy he got his money. I love it.
Listen, this is gonna be the most communist thing I say probably for a long time, but corporate entities, teams, when they lose money, it's a net positive. Pay your players. Players should be. What's up?
I feel like that's not communist. I feel like everybody should be anti the billionaires.
Yeah, nobody's management side.
That's weird, right? Like I maybe one person is, but they're not the normal one.
It is the job of. Well, no. Let me rephrase this. In a non-cap
jerseys, in
a league where the cap can be kind of finagled and it doesn't really matter as much as it matters in hockey, it is the job of every fan to be happy for players who make money when they don't deserve it.
Of course, well, to an extent, unless they're Josh Bailey. But if
no, if in a hard cap league, it's totally different because you're taking money that could have been used by somebody else.
But I'm just saying, if you want to go to the game as the Scott Malkin fan group, I mean, maybe
go for it.
Did we answer your question? Should Lou be allowed to handle this trade deadline? Yeah, he should.
Oh, wait, is that what we're on now?
Yeah, sorry. Let's move on. All right.
Did we not?
I mean, you're not gonna. First of all,
we skipped that one. My fault.
The monolithic thing that is the Lou Lamoriello front office is not going to change in the middle of the season. That's not something that's going to happen. That is not.
I don't
something
really think it.
The owners would do to Lou Lamoriello because they would never be. They would. Who would want a GM here, right? My hope is that he has the brains to sell off, because if he doesn't, that would probably be. And I don't want to be too hyperbolic here, but I feel like that would be an even bigger setback than Tavares.
I knew you were going to say
that's also, but that's also.
You're in here, Mike.
Yeah, I knew it was coming.
That's also up to ownership too. If they actually green light Lou to do that, though.
I mean, come on. You think there are any handcuffs on Lou Lamoriello at any point?
Actually, I do.
I agree, but given what happened with the whole John Tavares thing, I still remain skeptical.
No, I think that there probably are handcuffs on him. They're probably handcuffs that he's agreed to and he's kind of just dealing with. But I do think that ownership has probably gone to him at certain points and said, "Hey, we need to keep butts in seats. You got to do this for us."
Sure, they're bottom 5 in general attendance right now. Yeah.
You don't think that they think
new stadium.
You don't think that they think that that's always his goal? It's 100% his goal.
But it's not your goal when you're tanking.
I think. Well, I mean.
But that's what I'm saying. If he doesn't tank, it's very possible that ownership goes to him and says, "Hey, you are not allowed to tank. If you sell off pieces, we're going to fire you."
I'm going to go to the next level.
Yeah.
Let's say Lou stays, because I don't have a definitive answer. Do I think he should be able to handle this deadline? Absolutely freaking not. I think I've seen enough throughout the years where I'd be completely okay if you got one of these young nerds inside here.
Question.
No.
Okay, go ahead.
Do you think we are at a point right now where it is too close to the deadline to where it's not it is not comfortable for anyone else to kind of go into this situation? Like, it doesn't seem like they could really handle it with how little time we have.
If there's a Tulski out there who's like, "Hey, the ownership reaches out to, does their research, would you handle this correctly? Would you be willing to take us to the next level?" Sure, I know what to do. I'm going to move these set pieces.
Yeah, but those things take time.
I don't think there's any way.
And also, I don't think there's a Tulski available.
You don't think that when Lou came here for no good, and that was a coup. That was such a huge get for the Islanders. I remember people freaking out. Everybody I knew freaked out. You don't think that he, being 78 years old at the time, had some say over what he was going to tell the owners? This is what the exit plan is. My exit plan is when I want to leave, or if you ask me to leave, I will tell you when I will leave. But it's not going to be we fired him. Okay.
Well,
and also let me just say this.
Go ahead.
I'm 100% fine with him handling the exit. I think it's just a question of he didn't there have been reasons for him to hold on. I think
we're at the point where ownership should be looking at him and going, "Give me your list of people that you think would be good for the job."
Yeah,
100% should have been done 2 years ago. But whatever. I'm going to get to this point right now where I say, I need to just stress this on the podcast and for you guys. If Lou doesn't sell, everyone might be mad at him, but no one will forgive the owners.
Yeah,
I agree.
Ever. They will be done. They will need to sell the team because there will be a billboard with their names on it.
But don't
I don't think we're going that far.
Islanders owner.
But
I don't think that's hilarious. I don't think they're going that far.
You know it's going to happen. I'm just.
Don't you think they know that the biggest hit to the ticket
sales
would be?
What change would that make? The cap stays the same. He can't spend more money.
Sure, can.
Yeah, I'm
not saying it's gonna be good or bad. I'm just saying once the real estate multiples like that, you're gonna sell.
Did you hear? I heard there was like a shadow deal that where part of Juan Soto's deal was that Cohen was going to let him invest X amount in his hedge fund, and he would help him turn that $600 million into a couple billion.
You know, I don't doubt that for a fucking second.
And I would be like,
and good for him.
Yes, thank you. Yes,
yeah.
Write that into my contract.
You know what? Steve, that's probably the biggest asset that Steve Cohen has. He should be doing that with every player.
Yeah, turning money into more money. Which
Yeah.
is the opposite of what the Wilpons did.
Let me just add, I get a little afraid because I know Malkin I don't think Malkin has much of an idea of what's going on at all. I think
he's only focused on the business side.
Exactly. You have and then Ledecky.
That's what I'm saying.
But if he's only focused on the business side, then it's in his best interest to not tank.
It just scares me because I feel like Ledecky puts the pressure on Lou.
Ledecky doesn't do anything.
Ledecky is the front-facing, face of the company. He doesn't make the decisions.
I just look at the Islanders, and Ledecky, Lou, and Wah all hold hands in a circle, saying we're doing our jobs.
My name is John Ledecky. I'm the sock puppet of Scott Malkin.
Yes, that's
who I am.
I mean,
That's who he is.
The fact remains they're still in the top half of most profitable NHL teams. You know?
No, they're doing as owners, they're doing a great job. I'm not going to argue with them.
Yeah.
If they let Lou handle this and he blows it, I will never forgive them. This would set the team back so far. Especially with Nelson coming out publicly and saying, "I am testing the market." He didn't literally say it, but it was like not a single phrase or sentence saying, "You know what? I'd love to be an Islander."
Yeah.
Didn't say it.
But this goes back to what you were talking with me about months ago, where you were like, "We're going to let him go and he's going to come back." I don't think he's going to come back.
Yeah. Well, now I don't. Now when they
I didn't think he was going to come back before.
Okay, well, now when I hear him not say anything about coming back, I get a little worried.
Why would he?
Why would he not? He's been a lifetime Islander.
Because we're not good.
I think that
you think he wants to retire on a team that's not going to make the playoffs?
Maybe.
You want to hear about what'll hurt Nelson's value? It's not his play. It's the I'm not re-signing necessarily. I'm a rental.
That's fair, but I think the conversation changes if he gets straight.
That's how you end up with Sebastian Kohlberg.
No, but
Yes, I knew he was going with that.
But he's being traded to a playoff team. You don't think the team he's being traded to, he's going to say, "Hey, you guys can sign me if you want. I'd like to stay here and retire on a playoff team."
Yeah, I think it really depends on where he goes. But all right,
if he goes to Minnesota, I think there is a 100% chance he looks at them and goes, "Hey, lock this up."
Yeah.
Let me just end with. I understand he's not Jake Gensel, but like Jake Gensel said the same thing, and he still got a decent haul. So okay.
He's a lot older.
Jake Gensel also stayed.
He's like 4 or 5 years.
No, he didn't.
With the Hurricanes? Did he?
No, he's on Tampa.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
You scared me for a second.
You're right.
Am I not watching hockey? Is something wrong? Is Jake Gensel a Hurricane?
You're funny.
All right.
That was wishful thinking because if Gensel was on Carolina, that would make Jarvis expendable.
But I understand I understand he's younger than Nelson, but same sort of deal. Like he's on a struggling team. He didn't have the numbers he should have, in my opinion.
Yes.
Same sort of deal where, and the team had to know there's a very good chance it could be a rental. Like they had to have known, So. All right. What's the last one again? Oh, my favorite one. Most disappointing Islander this season. Who wants to go first?
I think we should ask Patrick Waugh because he'll say it's Pierre Engvall.
Oh. I don't even think it's him. That's the funny thing.
I don't think he would say that.
It's not. I mean, we all know who it is. It's Ryan Pollock. Dude's been asked this year.
That's a good one, but it's not mine.
And he's been asked this season by his standards.
Yeah.
You're struggling even in second pair.
I'm probably gonna say Brock Nelson.
Interesting.
My pick is Patrick Waugh.
Oh,
I am disappointed with him.
John.
I'm gonna give.
I didn't know we were talking about staff. My bad.
I'm gonna give. He's an
no.
You hire.
It's a good answer, but
you hire this guy to be a fucking spark plug. and to like rattle the cages of the country club.
He's Pat Capuano.
And
I think he's tried to. I just think they're not that talented.
Oh, please.
Every coach tries.
Oh, please. And that quote from the other day of, I have no basis for saying this, but we're playing good hockey. Like, give me a break.
Yes, that was funny. That was funny last Thursday.
That was probably the first quote he's had all year where I heard that and I went, oh.
And I've had it with the dumb face on the bench, though.
Why? I don't give a shit about that. Why does that matter?
I don't hire Patrick Waugh to look stupid on the bench. Fucking yell at somebody. You hire Patrick Waugh to have a personality and passion, and that's what he has.
He's become a player's coach, and Eric hates it.
Do something.
Yes.
If I wanted Jack Capuano, I would have gone out and gotten Jack Capuano.
Ironically, Eric,
available.
Patrick Waugh is a significantly better systems coach than Jack Capuano. The Islanders just can't play the system he wants to put out because they're not good enough.
I mean, I do agree with that. I think it is a personnel thing, and my hope is that they're able to figure out.
But it can't be a personnel thing and also a systems thing. It's one or the other.
Oh, it could be.
No, it can be both. It can be both for precisely the reason you said. If it's the system that doesn't fit the players, it can be both.
But I see Patrick Waugh to me, and this might be a fault to a lot of people. I don't see it as a fault, but it might be a fault to a lot of people. I think Patrick Waugh it seems to me like he's too prideful to make his system work for players that can't work in his system. Yeah. Instead of being like, all right, I'm gonna make it so that we don't have to be as fast all the time. We don't have to like chase the puck, everything. He goes, no, fuck you, do it.
He's working the anti-trots.
Yes. No, it seems like he is. There's a puzzle, and it seems like he's like it seems like instead of saying, hey, I'm gonna dumb this down for you guys, he goes, you know what? For how shit they are, they did a good job.
Yeah.
That's really what it feels like.
I'm sorry we didn't draft or select for speed or puck handling or hockey IQ in the last decade.
Like it kind of feels like you have a college coach, like college football coach with high schoolers, and he goes, you know what? None of you can fucking play, but you did good. You showed heart.
Unfortunately,
I gotta give mine.
Yeah, let's.
All right.
You ready for mine? Mine's probably not even that surprising, but it's actually Semyon Varlamov, and there's a couple names you can throw in there, but I thought. Yeah, I know, but in the beginning of the year, he was terrible, in my opinion, and it's tough because I thought he was actually going to be a 50-50 split this year, and I know he got hurt. I don't think he would have been a 50-50 split healthy. I thought Sorokin was the strong goalie to start this year, and he was. I mean, by the numbers, but I was so surprised. I mean, I wasn't that surprised, but he was a guy I thought was a lock for like a 9-10, 9-15 in the easier games, even if he starts a little bit more than usual. But he just looks old. I mean, he's just not that guy, and I thought that's why I was.
How long is he supposed to be out?
I have no idea.
I don't think they've given the time frame.
Because he
gets hurt every year. I mean,
he's
it's not even.
He's a movable piece too.
Maybe if he's healthy, he's 36.
He's a movable piece if people want to pay for an injury-ridden goalie. I don't think people want to pay for an injury-ridden goalie.
Not for a lot, but
I agree. If you can get off that cap hit, I definitely would. If you can get anything for it, especially if you're going to be in a retool. We don't need to be paying a backup.
I mean, they could just LTIR him if he's never going to be medically cleared again.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could Roby Daw Island, I'm sure.
Yeah, he wouldn't be Roby Daw. He just wouldn't be clear because his knee is all screwed up.
I know that, but if you're like saying that somebody can't play when they can,
he has insurance guarantees because of his contract too in his last 2 years.
Yeah.
But okay, before we close this out and I give my quick trivia question, just yes or no. Just yes or no. Do you guys think the Islanders will make the playoffs? I'll start no.
No.
Oh, what, this year or next year?
This year.
No.
Oh, no.
Eric?
Yeah, no, I said no.
Oh, okay, that's what I figured. All right, quick to the trivia.
The ship has sunk.
Yeah, exactly. You guys are looking tired, so
No, I'm wide awake.
No,
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
I'm
I'm
good.
actually really enjoying this.
I made some shitty bets tonight. I got to see if they hit.
If you guys want to throw up another topic, fine. But I got to get to this trivia question because I want to see if one of you can get it.
Go ahead.
And it's a simple one. In 1999, the Islanders made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 draft picks in 1999. How many of them played in the NHL? Give me a number.
I'm going to say 3.
I was going to say 2.
I'm going to go with 4.
You're all way off.
Really?
It's
Let's
0,
restart. No, way off.
Start from the bottom.
Go ahead.
You want me to?
Yeah, read them.
Oh, okay. I'm going to name the first 3 players, and then you can give me another guess. Tim Connolly, Taylor Pyatt, Branislav Mazet.
Oh, wow. Was it like 10? Is it like 10?
Are we gonna go 9?
Yeah, John got it. 9. So it was them, Christian Kudrock, Matthias Weinhandel, surprisingly was the 78th pick that year. Then you had Yuri Kolnick, Justin Mappletoft. You guys probably remember that.
I do remember him, yes.
Bjorn
That's a really good draft.
And pick 228 was Radek Martinek.
That's a fantastic draft. Goddamn.
Yeah, it was. They did well. Just thought I would bring it up.
He's trying to get us. He's trying
to get in some positivity. I like that. That's good.
No, I like it, Eric. Now you're thinking my vibes. The Islanders trade Brock Nelson for 4 draft picks. The Islanders trade Palmieri for 3 draft picks, and the Islanders draft 9 guys who play.
I think
it could work. I just think they probably need to overhaul their like AHL affiliate if they're planning on doing that. I'm all for it if they could do that.
No, listen, no one wants to bring up there's always 2 sides to a story, and my argument there is our AHL team is also just bad. I mean, no one wants to talk about that, but the players, you look at other teams AHL, there's 3 or 4 guys. You're like, oh, I know that guy.
All
on
right,
the Islanders, it's I don't know anybody.
Mike, I agree, but if we're going to concede that, then there's only one of 2 things: either we draft poorly, or we develop poorly. Which one is it? I think it's both.
It's both.
But we gotta one or the other.
Well, it's both. I mean, that's
so then you got to overhaul Bridgeport.
Honestly, sell off what we have. Sell off Peugeot. Sell off Palmieri.
I agree.
That's for sure. I agree.
Bring up Saudi. Bring up Karlstrom. Bring up Jeffries. That will help the tank. I guarantee it.
I agree.
I don't know if this year, but I'm just saying maybe even if a team wants Zizekas, maybe even eat a little bit of the money.
Yes.
Sure.
Get them off.
Move everything that moves. I have no doubt that if that is ultimately what comes, it won't be just Palmieri and Nelson. If Nelson goes, I think a lot of it will go. Everything that
Palmieri, Nelson, Peugeot, Lee, if they can, maybe some underlying pieces.
Well,
I think the core will.
They're not going to move Lee. I know it would be great, but they're not. He's the captain. I think
they would.
He's never going to be more valuable.
I think they would
now. You want to talk about increasing your value, like you wish Nelson would increase his value. He's never going to be more valuable than he is right now. But he's hard. You're going
to take a negative asset in somebody who was a $7 million anchor last year, and in the 1 year where he's going to be tradable, leave him? No, yes. I don't think so.
No, absolutely.
I think they want to compete next year, so I just don't see them trading everybody.
I don't see them competing with him next year.
You also got to ask. You also got to ask yourself, how fucking good is a captain whose team is playing like this?
I
don't think that's on him.
I have a mixed opinion on that, but I do agree with Eric that if that's your captain, that's a problem because that's a declining asset.
It's on everybody, and I hate him for the same reason I hate Wah and his dumb face. And show me, do something.
Yeah. Say something to these guys. You guys are playing like garbage. Hello?
I don't.
There's no fire.
He's just not that guy. He is captain country club, and he will not do that.
Yeah.
So the thing to me is What do you guys want from them outside of success?
Speed.
I miss the fire. Like I the team shows more fire when they're winning. It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Of course, they show more fire when they're winning. Everyone shows more fire when they're winning.
John, I had that balancing act with you where we talked about the Islanders do stand up for each other, and I saw the play with Isaiah George, and I went, "What the fuck?" I mean, why are you waiting? Your team sucks. You're not fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I agree.
Stand up for him. And I
agree.
understand it's a fast game and you can't always see what happens. But
Domi
Mayfield went up to him later. They saw what happened.
Domi is also Domi's also a rat. He was ducking fights.
It should have 100% been a brawl on the ice.
It should have been a line brawl.
I agree. It should have been. They tried to fight Domi a few times. He ducked him.
The next time Domi was out there on a face-off where you have the change, it should have been a line brawl. There's not a. That's your John. That is your 20-year-old. That's a
for me.
That's what I was going to say.
For me, the second or third time I saw somebody try to fight him and him shy away, somebody should have given him a big check. Somebody should have knocked him down.
Yeah.
No, someone should have beat him up. I mean, that's
penalty.
Yeah.
And you know the two people who should be saying that? Fucking Lee and Waugh. And just
it's bizarre. It's bizarre that those two aren't the ones to fire them up. Waugh should be causing hell. He should be pushing the glass like he did that.
Why did
whoever coach that was?
Why did we get Freaky Friday Patrick Waugh, where he changed changed bodies with Jack Capuano?
Freaky Friday Patrick Waugh.
Who took his soul? Where did it go?
Why is he David Quinn all of a sudden? What happened?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't get it.
But forget the coach, forget Andersley. In this situation, everybody on the ice should have jumped that motherfucker.
Yep.
Sure.
I mean, watch how a team like Florida handles their business.
I get what you're saying.
And it's funny because I know Florida has all that talent, but that's the team that's going to win you a cup and isn't soft as baby shit. I mean, that's one of the biggest problems with the Islanders is at least when we sucked when I was a kid, they stood up for each other. I mean, I don't know.
See, I think we're looking at those years with rose-colored glasses a little bit.
Well, it's also a different game where we had 4 fighters on the team, so I agree. It. But at the same time, I mean, these are tough guys, John. These aren't weaklings. This isn't
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that the team is soft as baby shit.
The heady days
feel like it.
Zenon Konopka and Michael Haley.
If Zenon Konopka was here, he would have jumped the bench and taken a penalty to beat the fuck out of that guy.
Mike, I think the team is under a microscope because they're not playing well, and we're looking for things to nitpick them about, and this is the thing we could nitpick them about.
No, but if you're gonna suck, at least care. At least show some fire.
I think they do
care. Sort of.
No, they absolutely care.
I I think every player cares, even on the teams that are rebuilding. I think they care.
Yes, I think they do.
I don't think the Islanders care enough.
I disagree. You can talk about. Let's see. This is what I was talking about before with excuses. I think you don't want to deal with the reality that they just fucking suck. It makes you feel better to say that they don't care because they're going to be back next year, and you can say they're going to give a shit, and it's going to get better. No, they're just bad. It's not that they don't care; they're just bad.
I thought John was saying they didn't stand up for Isaiah George because they're bad. I'm like, that doesn't make sense,
No, I think that
if anything, the bad teams would do that.
No, I think that shit happens in hockey because it's a very fast game, and those kinds of things happen to good teams all the time, and people don't think about them because, oh, hey, we scored and we're winning. When you suck, there's a microscope on your play, and these kinds of things happen.
You can be one or the other, but being both is the absolute unacceptable.
Is death.
No,
but I don't know. I think it's the worst from a fan perspective, but I think a player doesn't give a shit about that.
The team right now has. It looks like they have zero heart whatsoever. It looks like the only person who cares is Bo Horvat, and that's it. End of full stop. That's the only guy because his quotes are what I'd expect from the team captain.
I disagree. I think. Well, no, I agree about Bo Horvat. I think he's probably.
I don't think it's wrong.
He's the
right.
He should be the de facto captain.
Yeah.
But I disagree that they don't have heart. I think
which
they're
is
just
another reason that Lee is expendable.
It's weird this year because I haven't spoken about it since we've been doing these podcasts, but I don't think Barzal's been bad this year. I think he's a mixed bag. I think, like I said, his on ice results are phenomenal. They're the best on the team, but I don't know if it's part of the injury or the mental. But he looks checked out just as much as some of the other guys at times.
I think he probably
His baseline's always going to be high.
See, I think they probably all have a lot that they're dealing with. They're like anxious and they're holding their sticks too tight, whatever you want to call it. It's not that they don't give a shit. It's that they're really focused on getting this right too much, and they're in their heads about it.
But my problem, John, is the third period letdowns. This is why I try to.
It's an anxiety thing.
Well, see, here's why I try to fence ride because if I was talking to Brandon would go. It's on coaching game management.
It's on the players.
If you come to me, I would tell you no. It's on the fucking players not giving a shit. But in your opinion, it's anxiety.
It's not
as
on
a
them.
Professional in the best league in the world as 30-year-olds. It's not anxiety. They just
it absolutely is. Are you kidding me?
Well,
dude.
I'm not saying it's not mental,
No.
If they're
you
nervous,
focus
in those
your
moments, they gotta
entire
get off the ice.
It's not. No, that's the stupidest thing you could have said.
That's why they stink. Then
that is why they stink. But it's unavoidable. If you focus your entire life on something the way athletes do their careers, they have anxiety about their game all the fucking time. It's unavoidable. It's something that they literally cannot not do. You could talk to any sports scientist, sports psychologist, sports scientist in the world. They will all tell you every player is anxious about their game when they're not playing well.
But the game management
always a thing.
But it's not like I'm not talking about like the last minute of the game. I'm talking how
the whole third period because it is a trend that always happens. I bet you every single third period they go into it going, "Oh, here we go again. Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up. Don't fuck up." And they're in their heads about it.
Well, then maybe I want the different.
Probably one or two people
to get them out of their heads.
Yes, thank you, Brandon. Like, there's probably one or two people on the team that should be monitoring that, like the captain or the coach.
I don't disagree. It's easier said than done. Have y'all ever?
Coach. It's your job. You could say,
Brandon. I know that, but okay. Have y'all ever had anything that you had? Have you guys had any personally? Have any of you guys had anything that you have had an anxiety attack over?
No.
Of course.
Then you don't know.
Regarding what practice?
Anything.
Yeah, a few.
Okay. What is the worst advice you can give somebody who is going through that?
Stand 10 feet around me.
Get over it.
Or that.
It is not something that you can feasibly work around in the moment.
I would say you can practice.
No, you can come up with coping strategies and things like that, and that's what a sports psychologist does.
You're talking about your average Joe.
No.
It's being paid $85 million.
That doesn't make them not human, though. That's dumb. That's a stupid way of thinking.
It makes you a baby with a drastic misunderstanding of stakes.
No, it does not.
I love how heated this is.
This is
that's worry about where they're going to sleep tonight. These are people who are all going home to
Eric.
Beautiful women, frankly, and lots of money.
Eric, frankly, I don't give a shit. None of the players care about that, nor should they. That is not a thing. Their entire lives, they are hardwired to say, your value as a person is how good you are at this sport. If you are not good, you are valueless as a person. Why would their minds not be hardwired to that? Every single piece of their conditioning has told them that this entire time. they shouldn't care about people who are poorer than them, who don't have food, blah, blah, blah.
If
Like,
we have
we
an
don't.
anxiety attack on the ice, then I'll grant your point. But until that happens, they're just being pussies.
They're
It is.
no.
I mean, watch the Rogan.
This is
has
like
50.
They are playing with no heart. That
for
is
every
it.
one of your like bad sports takes. This takes the cake. This is the worst one by far. 100,000%.
John,
Like,
I've got a better comparison for you.
This is indefensible. I will die on this.
And also, I got to cut in 1 second. Islanders' anxiety already taken.
Yeah,
listen. Athletes are human beings. This is the hill that I will die on.
Okay, Mike.
That's fine. No, I wanted to counter it, though, by saying I don't think even John's wrong. I get worried with the comfort factor because it's not like how things were in the 80s.
You think they look comfortable?
Yes.
No, 100%.
No, absolutely not.
I think when I'm using the same computer for 8 to 10 years, I start getting lazy with stuff. I start getting way too comfortable because I've been using it for so long. Oh, that doesn't work correctly, but I've been doing it for 6 years. I'm not gonna fix that or change it. I've been getting away with it.
No. I agree with that. I agree with that to an extent, but I think a lot of it is more so like that's what happens when things are going well. When things are not going well, like when your computer has tons of viruses. Yeah. You're not looking at it going, oh, well, I'll just fix it doing the same thing I have done like for 8 years. When the thing you've done for 8 years no longer works, you go, what the fuck? What do I do?
Let's change this around, though. I'm not talking about the last minute of the game. I'm talking about with 8 minutes left in the third period, Jean-Gabriel Pageau, who is one of the smartest defensive players on the team, goes, here you go. Like,
well, that's the thing.
Not anxiety. That is comfort. That is comfort.
No, I don't know that. I don't think that's.
What's the punishment? What's the punishment?
Yeah, I don't think that's
Oh.
comfort. I think they go into the third period with that mentality of don't fuck up, and they think about it so much that they fuck up.
On a real
it's
team,
inevitable.
I think that
on a real team, you get scratched for that fucking nonsense.
I don't think this looks like bearing down too hard. I think it looks like complete and total lack of focus. And
also, no, it's I don't
accountability.
I'm not even going to say
there's no accountability on this team.
I'm not even going to say
every game this year, and he sucks. He sucks.
I'm not even going to say it's bearing down too hard. I think it's you. I think it's a lot of the players thinking to themselves, "Gotta stay loose. Gotta stay loose. Gotta stay loose. Gotta stay loose," and they're not loose.
If they are so badly overthinking that, I want to implode the roster because God, these guys are losers. Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, come on.
Well, that's the world but that's the world that we're in, and that's why I think they should retool.
There we go. Now you're getting to my point, is that I don't want to turn into the Buffalo Sabres. Oh, I'm so nervous. Stop.
That's what it is. That's literally, dude.
Get rid of them.
There are teams that have a culture of. There are teams that have a culture of fear. They play scared. They don't want to win. They want to not lose.
If you watch those Buffalo Sabres games, the Buffalo Sabres games looked more focused than we did.
Yeah, they did. I know.
They are nothing but tape-to-tape passing around our defense and skating.
Bro, they went through like a 15-game losing streak. If you watch them that entire streak, they played really well for like half the game. And then the second half of the game was, shit, I don't want to fuck this up. And then they would inevitably fuck it up.
If we're turning into that, though, I don't want to be.
I agree. I don't want to be that either, but it is what it is.
Stop the train.
That's where you are.
Stop the train. You know,
that's
like
where
the
you
train's
are.
Going off the cliff. I don't want to. Someone has to pull the lever. You know what I mean, John? And if it's not going to be Anders Lee or Patrick Waugh, it's got to be the general manager. Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ.
I mean, I agree, but that's where I'm at. You got to retool.
Yeah.
And they need. I don't know. They need to get their dick sucked or something.
They need proper coaching structure again. They need boring hockey back.
No,
they need to stop sucking each other off.
I'd rather see them lose. I'd rather see them lose than that. Like, I'd rather see this actually be a good team that looks like they're good at hockey.
No, what I mean by
never
boring,
really looked like even.
No, I mean, Eric, what I mean by boring is boring Barry
caveman hockey.
I know, and I'm telling you, I would rather see them fucking lose.
Well,
I want to see an actual good hockey team.
That's
They
the
were
conundrum.
under try.
That's the conundrum. If you're going to be a boring team, you got to be good. You got to be good, and the
And they
Islanders
were
aren't.
boring
So
and good when they had structure to complement their play.
well, they were younger too. You keep leaving that out.
The
They were
age
5
doesn't
years
matter,
younger.
though.
What do you mean age doesn't matter? Yes, it does on the majority of players.
The Stars are
Majority.
one of the oldest teams in the league, and they play the exact same style under Pete DeBoer.
Okay, and who's the best players on the Stars?
All right.
How
Well,
old are they, Brandon? No.
Okay.
How old are the best players on the Stars?
Matt Duchene's probably the best player on their team right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's pretty old.
Everyone but
Matt
but
Duchene is not
Let's
the
go.
best player on their team. Are you fucking
Right now,
serious?
he's playing like it.
Rupe Hintz. How old is Rupe Hintz, Brandon?
Rupe Hintz, I think, is like his mid-20s, if I'm not mistaken.
How old is Miro Heiskanen? Who hasn't been as good, I get it, but
How old is Jason Robertson? How old is
Robertson
Logan
has not played well this
Stankoven?
year. Robertson, offensively and fundamentally, has not played well this year.
He's
And he
still a
started-
really good hockey player.
Okay, overall in the package, yes. I'll talk about this season.
and I agree with Brandon that they're an older team, but some of their best
Way
players
older.
are young.
Way older.
Their core is young.
Doesn't matter about the core.
All right. Well, we could listen. We could argue about.
Yeah, this isn't a Dallas Stars podcast.
We could
This is the
argue about
St.
how
Louis
players making money
Blues
means that they don't have problems forever and they shouldn't have emotions and feelings because that makes them gay. But I'm not doing that.
I'm pretty sure I
No.
didn't. I'm pretty sure I didn't say that, but
You
None
said
of
they
us-
were
none of-
pussies. That's fine.
yes, that doesn't mean you're gay. That's
I do
what
think they
All
play
right,
it
soft.
means that you're
You know what
No,
I mean.
John, are
I'm
you
not
gonna
saying
argue-
gay is
are
in
you
like
gonna argue-
actually gay.
soft as shit.
Are you?
The pejorative
are you-
changed because
All
you
right.
used
Well,
it.
that's a pussy ass
Oh, wait.
fucking mentality.
Are you gonna argue with me that they don't play soft? Because I think they absolutely play soft.
No, I'm saying that we need to cut this because we're an hour and 45 minutes in.
Okay, but they play soft. I'm just gonna finish with that. I mean,
They do. They're soft as can be.
soft as butter a lot of the
Soft as
time. All right.
They're a bunch of they are a bunch of mentally stunted children because
They are.
they're- yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And we're gonna put them in a time machine and age them until they're mature enough to come back on the ice and stand up for fucking Isaiah George. Bunch of wimps. Wimps. It's Max Domi, not the Terminator. Jeez. Unbelievable. He's not even half as tough as his dad. He goes around there and fairy dusts the ice. Like, are you kidding me? You're not going to stand up to him? Then the season's over. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Goodbye.